your parents think the environment is a problem? Yes or no?
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. No.
No.
Yes.
Yes. No.
Yes.
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 I'm Charlie, this is Dusan. We're at the Wolong Panda Preserve, China's national treasure, the panda, and we're going to learn all about them.
Actually, in captivity, we have 188. And the wild, we have 1,590. Because our center did very successful breeding, reproduction for pandas, we are start reintroduction for captivity panda. Our population increased from 10 in 1990, and up to now we have 102. So the panda is very hard to be pregnant. Only about 30% of the panda we breed can have baby. Even the panda give baby, give birth to twins especially. They will give up one of their babies. The one she gave up is very, very easy to be die. Fortunately, our center have overcome these problems. We have 16 babies last year from 11 mothers. It's very, very successful year for us.
Holding a panda or just seeing one says more about the environmental movement than anyone who can talk about it, because it's an undescribable feeling. It's about the love. The environment goes, the water goes, the animals go. It's all connected. Orcas are beautiful creatures. An orca is actually not even a whale. It is a dolphin. In fact, it is the largest species of dolphin that exists on the planet. A resident orcapod is a family-based group. The orcas live together from the day they're born to the day they will pass. One of the things that I found really fascinating about the resident orcapod is that when the season is over, they leave their homes, but none of the scientists know where they go. We're going to meet two scientists, Dr. Paul Spong and Ken Balcom, two individuals whose lives have been dedicated to the betterment of marine life, in particular orcas, two individuals whose styles are completely different. We've just arrived at Fort Hardy, where we're going to meet Dr. Paul Spong and learn about the northern resident orcapods.
In this community, which occupies the central coast of British Columbia, there are about 230 members. It's called the Northern Resident Community. They occupy a pretty big ocean space, thousands of square kilometers of space. There's a huge abundance of food in this space, and yet the population is small. These guys have been here in these local waters for about 10,000 years probably, like since the last ice age.
He is one of many scientists responsible for putting a halt to taking orcas from the wild and preventing them from being shipped to marine parks. He doesn't believe that people should be interacting up close, in boats, with the orcas, but that we should respect their territory and observe and record them by land-based observation only.
The Orca Life project is very interesting, use technology to connect people with nature. The technology needs some development before it reaches sort of the optimal capabilities. Basically what we're trying to do is connect people to nature in real time. Using the remote camera and the internet, we're able to show people what happens. And so we have sort of a choice of 6 different cameras.
His specialty is linguistics. So off the coast of Hansen Island, he's placed microphones throughout the bay. He studies the way orcas communicate through clicks and squeaks, and how they use sound waves, known as echolocation, to find fish.
Strangely enough, what we're doing now is very similar to what we were doing when we first came to Hansen Island. Our objective was to find a place on the shore that we could watch whales from and put a hydrophone in the water and listen to their sounds. And that's pretty much exactly what we're doing now.
How many hydrophones do you have in the water now?
There's 6 of them up and down Johnson Strait, about 50 square kilometers. Orcas are the most powerful predator in the ocean. They have extraordinary physical power, and they literally have the ability to do anything they want to do physically to anything else in the ocean, including themselves. And it seems fairly obvious that a long time ago they reached the conclusion that the use of physical force isn't that constructive or effective in terms of managing a society. Orcas live very long lives. The females have opportunities to certainly have many more offspring than they actually do have. So one wonders, about whether the fact that there's a low population is something that just happened, or whether there's some intent associated with it.
We're now leaving Hansen Island and returning to the United States, where we'll visit the Southern Orca resident pod. Dr. Ken Balcom is a scientist who is known for discovering that the Navy sonar might be responsible for beaching the whales. His background is in the Navy.
I want to welcome you to the Center for Whale Research. Today we're going to explore the life of the southern resident killer whales of San Juan Island. I was a whale biologist before I went into the Navy, and then what the Navy did was immerse me and acquaint me with underwater sound. They put a hydrophone in the water and we're getting a little underwater sound. If they're out here chatting, we should hear them. They're out there lobtailing, splashing, breaching, carrying on, way more active than the northerns. When I was 12, I read this book called Circus Doctor. I wanted to do something with wild animals. Went down to the whaling stations and I thought, now there's a species that needs some study. Our main mission is to document the status of the population. In this case, killer whales. We've done blue whales, fin whales, humpbacks, and beaked whales. Document. What's the facts? How many are there? And then let the public and the government know. We started a Center for Whale Research. Every year we have college students or young people volunteer to be staff. A lot of them want to be paid, and we tell them unfortunately that's not the case, but you can be fed and you can camp in the yard and you can meet all these other wonderful people and you can help study these amazing whales. If I had the money, I'd endow it so that there would always be funding available to have it go beyond my lifetime. Okay, so this is where we keep our Earthwatch teams. This is their house. In the summer, probably 20% of the mornings I wake up and the whales are right off that point coming this way. See, if you look for about 10 minutes, you give them a time to come to the surface. They spend sometimes 7 or 8 minutes underwater. In the 60s, the aquariums learned that they could catch and keep these animals in a tank. And there were huge attractions for all the marine parks. And a big industry started in this area, catching them and selling them all over the world. Most of them died within a year or two, but it seemed like there was an unlimited supply. They just kept catching and selling. And by the time that stopped in 1976, there were only 68 left.
You can feel his connection, his passion to protect what he believes to be the most sacred creatures on this planet. Dr. Ken Balcom has created a system of recognizing his orcas. He does it by classifying their dorsal fins. Each orca has a unique marking.
Take a high-resolution picture of the dorsal fin and saddle patch, the gray area. The female generally has a lower fin about 2 feet tall and it's recurved or triangular, whereas the male's fin grows to about 6 feet and is usually triangular or even leans forward. There's 3 main pods in this area, J, K, and L. There's 24 in J right now, 21 in K, and 44 or 45 in L, depending on who's still alive. We've had 3 new babies this year.
But there is none more famous than J1, also known as Ruffles.
J-pod, it's our most resident pod in the Puget Sound area. J1 is the patriarch, so to speak. Actually, for a while, he was the only adult male in the whole population.
It says here that there's a female that's estimated to be born in 1911.
Right, we estimate she's the mother of J1 because she's traveling like moms do. They say J2 and J1 are always together, and that is the way mothers and their sons and daughters travel, is always together. A bonding that is also functional. All the babies help herd the fish. See, they have to herd fish. It's useful to do that with animals that you know very well, that you've lived with all your life. You know, each knows what the other's going to do in a certain situation. Well, the new babies are born at about 400 pounds, 350, 400, and 8 feet long. And the largest in here is J1. He's probably 26 feet and 16,000 pounds. He's probably 55. He would eat probably 240 pounds of salmon each day. We've been doing this 30 years. And he was one of the most recognizable whales when we started. And he's just gotten even more majestic and recognizable as time goes on. That little stream of water coming off the tip of his fin. Well, the way that you eventually get to know them best and time your photography, if nothing else, is by holding your breath as long as they do. And, you know, just sort of getting a sense of their rhythm. I seem to be stuck in a rut of trying to photo identify everybody all the time, but sometimes it's nice just to put the camera down and just be there.
The sturgeon here, 140-million-year-old species, almost went extinct, but the Chinese government has been artificially reproducing them. To the Chinese, they are what the panda is to the woods, they are to the sea. So they're very sacred, and this is a big issue. One of the drawbacks of the Three Gorges Dam project has been just the environmental protection of animals. The migratory path of the sturgeon's been cut off. The sturgeon can no longer come in from the ocean and go up the Yangtze to reproduce. The sturgeon is genetically modified. This is not from natural reproduction. How they'll react out at sea is another big issue. How did you get involved with the SPCA?
Well, I actually started my career as a prosecutor in the Bronx. After prosecuting criminals and doing stings on New York City's waterfront, I accidentally fell in an SPCA in New York. And I realized that it's the same criminals, it's just a different target. I get very upset when there's no fair fight. I always have to be on one side, and it's usually the side against the bully. The animals can't speak for themselves. I'm just a meddler. Our focus is to protect the animals from the people.
Is animal abuse a big problem here in the city of Los Angeles?
There's different kinds of animal abuse. There's the kind that you think of where somebody beats a dog to death for fun, for sport.
So cool.
And then you have somebody who's making money giving pony rides when it's 110 degrees outside and not giving the animal a rest.
People don't realize how mistreated animals are in our society.
Well, let me darken this up, partly because my platform is violence. That's been my career most of my life. There's more to that, which is if you learn to be nice and kind to animals, you have empathy, which is the ingredient missing in all violent felony offenders. Every serial killer started with animal abuse.
creating this spatial environment is for people to come and see how the cat would function at home, in a home-like environment, versus like putting him in a cage.
The real reason we did this is because we're using fresh air and sunlight to fight disease. So these cats who can go in and out don't get sick. Also, they're calmer. They're not crammed up in a little cage. And then number two, you get an idea if you have more than one cat, how the cat behaves around other cats.
Do you find then that this system of work is helping increase adoption though?
It does increase adoptions, because don't they look more fun like this?
De antes de entrar en EARTH me interesaba muchísimo la biología y la vida silvestre, y qué mejor lugar que la EARTH con 1000 hectáreas de reserva para estudiar esto. Sí, definitivamente, o sea, lo que es la vida silvestre es lo que a mí más me interesa, la protección, la conservación del medio ambiente. De hecho, por eso estudié en EARTH, no por ser agrónomo, sino porque creo que las herramientas de EARTH es lo que me va a ayudar muchísimo a poder integrar, digamos, a la comunidad, a poder entender, porque muchos biólogos entienden cuál es el problema, pero no la causan. Claro. Y yo voy a dedicar mi vida a la conservación, definitivamente.
Manure, we're going to try to process into organic fertilizers. For that, we can use EM, which is effective microorganisms. This is what decomposes the wood and everything that falls from a tropical rainforest. These microorganisms go and act directly in the organic matter. If you don't have a smell, you have fewer flies coming in. It doesn't smell like manure. It looks like dirt, like soil, black soil.
And this is from
This is from here. We sprayed this on the floor. There's not many flies around here and no smell, although the cows have been here since 8 o'clock in the morning. 9 years ago, you can open your mouth. Flies will go into your mouth. I mean, we were desperate with the problems of flies. This solved the problem 100%.
I'm Nandita Krishna. I'm the director of the C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer Foundation.
Say hello to your friends.
The foundation has set up many institutes such as the CPR Environmental Education Center, the CPR Institute of Indological Research, CP Art Center, and the Saraswati Kendra Learning Center for Children with dyslexia, autism, learning disabilities, ADD, and so on. Dog to Dog is a program that was really started in Hong Kong by Animals Asia Foundation. In Chennai, there are about 20 dogs in the program. They go to different schools. Some of the schools are for the retarded, children with Down syndrome and so on.
Jumble, he takes for breakfast.
We found that it was very good at making children speak.
His name is Mikey. Yes, Mikey. What is M-I-K-E-Y?
I have a dog. It's a boxer. And, its name is Bruno. Very friendly. Love to play with people. My pastime is, spending time with them.
Dogs are not threatening. The child feels superior and there's no pressure on the child, whereas whether the parents say do this or the teacher tries to teach in the kindest way possible, that is still too much pressure on the child.
Talk to Jumble. Ask her what she ate for breakfast.
Jumble, what did you eat? Jumble, what did you eat?
Whereas here he's talking to another being who cannot talk at all.
Yeah, dogs are so friendly.
It's a golden retriever, what I've got at home.
It's so much easier when there is a dog and they are able to talk.
If you love to be with dogs, it's not hard at all.
I take him for walks every day.
Yeah, you can kiss her. want her to kiss, you ask her. You ask her. Tell her to give me a kiss.
We just saw a case of a young boy who could barely speak and who brought out one sentence to tell the dog to give him a kiss.
Good to have a dog. It's fun.